Hey there, Park Ridge kids, welcome to STEWY'S, the music lesson of the week. Yeah. Hey, year 5, 6, how's it going? It's week 9 of term 3. Unbelievable how fast time is flying. Parts 1 and 2 are really super quick. I've put back in the YouTube links with all those rhythm exercises for you to keep revising, especially seeing as we're doing a bit of a drum kit study, which I'll talk about in a moment in part 3. Part 2, please keep on practicing. Now we know bass clef. You can do treble and bass clef using Star Wars and note names for kids. As I said, parts 1 and 2 were really quick today. Let's start part 3 of our drum kit study. So the drums, one of the very cool instruments in any band or ensemble. You might be able to see that little kids drum kit I've got there in my studio. So I suppose we better get to know the drums. I think we'll start though. I have included in your pack this sheet here that has a diagram of a drum kit, and I want you to be able to label and know the names of the parts of the drum kit. So I filmed something yesterday in the music room. Let's cut to that, and that'll give you a better idea of what a drum kit is like. There's a bit more to the school's drum kit than my daughter's drum kit over there. So here's yesterday's video. Okay, so the start of our drum kit study. I'm here in the music room and I thought we better have a look at the school's drum kit. It's a lot bigger and better than the one I have in my studio. That's just the kids' one that I use in my home studio. It's actually one that belongs to Isla and Erin, my 2 young daughters. But let's do a quick tour of the kit from this view here. Apologies again for the glare. The windows in the music room do cause that. Then I'll come over and grab the phone and we'll take a closer look at things. So you probably could see this bit here, the big drum. It's called a bass drum, yeah. Some people call it a kick drum because there is a kick pedal attached to it, which I'll show you from the view on the other side shortly. So when you're labeling the parts of the drum kit, you should have that piece of paper in your pack. It's got a diagram there, and we want you to label that down there as a bass drum. Moving around the kit, we've got this all-important one here. It's hard to see on this video here. I'm playing something down here. It's called a snare drum, S-N-A-R-E. Hey, it's all spelt there on the sheet for you anyway. You can switch a snare on and off, but I don't think I'll do that with this one because sometimes once you switch them off, it does turn them into a tom sound, but sometimes they're hard to switch on with older drum kits. So there's probably the 2 most important ones, your kick and your snare. They're the ones that we'll be using for some of the drum exercises, particularly when you make your own home drum, bucket drum kits, I guess. Another important one here, it's like 2 cymbals put on another on the stand here. This is called a hi-hat. And when you're playing most drum beats, these 3, kick, the bass drum, the snare, and the hi-hat, they're really the 3 most important ones. We've got here a high tom and a low tom. They're both forms of rack toms, and you can get a whole set really. The one I have at home, which you'll see, only has the 1 high tom on it. So again, this is our high tom. This is our, I guess we call it a middle tom actually, not a low tom, middle tom, because speaking of toms, and you can't see it from there, it's the one sitting on the floor. Really, you could call that a floor tom or tom-tom, is just what they've got written on the sheet. This could be a low tom really, but it's commonly referred to as a floor tom. Now the 2 parts on your sheet that you'll need to label. We've got this symbol on this side here. It's a crash symbol because it makes a crashing sound, and you generally only use it to accent beats. So you might be playing a beat. You can hear that that crashing sound. Whereas this cymbal here is called a ride cymbal. I don't need to spell it for you. It's in the lesson pack. Because you can actually sit on this cymbal and I guess ride the cymbal in the beat. So that's the view from there. I'll come over and get the phone and we'll take a look from the player side of the drum kit. Now a quick tour on the player side. Obviously I forgot to mention you need drumsticks. Yeah, that's all important. I'll put one of them down because I only need one for this. We've got our hi-hat here. And it's like two cymbals, one on top of the other, and it has a pedal. Always keep your foot on the pedal for now, especially as a beginner, yeah? We've got our snare drum. There is a metal a snare device on the bottom that gives it its snappy sound. We've got our kick drum, and there's that kick pedal I was talking about. Basically, you keep your foot, it's kind of like a shoe mark really there, and you just keep your foot on it at all times. Now, playing a kick pedal, I always use, it's my ankle, and my foot never leaves it. I'm always got my foot on it, so you're not lifting your foot off, and then it goes out of control. Keep your foot resting on it at all times. That way you get a greater control of your foot pedal. And again, it's just my ankle and foot pivoting that's making it work. Here's my floor tom on the floor stand. We've got our high tom, middle tom tom, tom tom, same thing. Here's our crash and our ride. That's pretty much the parts from this side. A totally different view, as you can see. And hopefully in the next video, part of the video, I'll show you how to set up your own bucket drum kit. Look, if you've got a kick, a snare, and a hi-hat, that's really all you need to get started. But we'll see if we can make some other things up too. Let's go on to the next part of the video. Hope that tour of the school's drum kit gave you a better idea of what we're working with. Underneath that diagram in the lesson pack is a whole heap of links here from YouTube. I've just been checking out some awesome drum solos to help you get inspired. So please have a look at some of your own. If you find any good ones, send me the link and I'll check them out myself. The next part is trying to, if we're going to learn the drums, you might be lucky enough to have a drum kit at home. Yeah, that'd be great. But if not, and probably most people wouldn't, you can quite easily get a little practice set made up. So I'm going to grab my phone here. And went out to the garage earlier and into the kitchen, and I've just got a whole heap of bits and pieces. So hopefully you can see them there. I'm now going to have a go at trying to piece something together to make something that resembles a drum kit. Let's see how I go. All right, well, it might be ugly, but I think I should be able to play some sort of drum beat on this. There's my home drum kit. Or as I said, it's not really mine, it's my daughter's drum kit. And here's this monstrosity that I've created. I'm gonna say that this here is my snare for now. I'm gonna try to use that as my bass drum. Now, really, all it is a piece of polystyrene, and I'm gonna try to use it as if I was using a bass or kick pedal. I'm going to say this is my hi-hat because I want a metal or metallic kind of a sound. I don't know whether I'll actually use that cymbal. It'll probably fall off. It's an old tin lid. We'll see how it goes. I'm using the chairs to keep it a bit higher for me. See how a shoebox goes for a tom. I'm only going to use one tom. Maybe I could use that as a floor if I actually need it. But really today, I'm just going to be, as a beginner, using a kick and a snare. And that's all I'd really like you to use. So you could even just get by having something for your foot, or even just stomp on the floor and something to hit as a snare for this week. Oh, and I almost forgot. I managed to find some chopsticks out of the kitchen. I wouldn't recommend using pencils because the leads break inside. All right, let's take this thing for a bit of a spin. So I had to move my cymbal, just wasn't positioned well enough. You might be able to come up with something, but again, you don't really need a cymbal. Doesn't matter how it sounds for now. Let's see how it goes. Here's my kick, here's my snare, cymbal. We'll try to a basic beat. Here goes 2, 3, 4. what? It's not perfect, but it'll do the trick for now. Let's have a look at a really basic piece of sheet music that I'd love you to have a go at for tapping some drums. And again, as I said, you just need to tap your foot on something and a snare drum for this week. One of the first things you should notice about drum music is there's no A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's more about the length and timing of notes. So you definitely need to know your tars, TTs, and things like that. And that's why I'd love you to keep revising those rhythm exercises on YouTube. But what they do is they give each line in the staff one part of the drum kit, and all I want you to worry about for now, there's our 5 lines and 4 spaces, is the bass drum. So anytime you see a note in that first bass, it's saying that's a bass drum. That's what's hitting that tar there. And the snare drum notes are always in the 3rd space. Don't worry about the rest for now. We might start looking at hi-hats, which are up there, maybe a crash cymbal at some point, but really, if we get to know these two first up, we'll be doing fine. Now, the actual music I've given you, I've taken a photo, but this is from the original book. You will see there, hey, look, here is our bass drum in the 1st space, and all it's doing for all of the exercises is just going on the beat. 1, 2, 3. So the whole time. I'll show you on the little drum kit in a minute. Now that's just going to be kicking like a pulse the whole way through. So all that is foot going 1, 2, 3, 4 non-stop. So you really don't need to think about that once you get it going. It's here where it changes the snare. So as you can see, we've got all tars, and it's in the 3rd space. And the good thing about this exercise is each 4 bars stay the same pattern. So that is exactly the same for 4 bars. By the time you get to the end here, you should probably memorize this part and be looking here. Oh, there's a rest, and then 3 tars. It does exactly the same. By the time you're here, you should already be looking at this one. Look, we've got a 2 beat rest and then 2 tars. And all it is, this exercise is tars. It's really the top line here, the one that you're going to be focused on to change, and just use this kick drum to try keep you in time. I'm going to pop over to the little drum kit now and have a go at playing this very simple exercise. I won't do the whole thing though. Here goes. Okay, a couple of things to remember. Here's the kids' drum kit. Sounds a bit better than, much better than my homemade one, so I'll use this. All I need is the snare. All I need is the kick drum here too. When you're holding your sticks, just find something that's comfortable and try to alternate right, left when we're playing. I'm going to keep my eyes on the music. I've got it on my music stand up here. I'm not sure if you can see it in the picture there. It's the exact same sheet music that I've put in your lesson pack, and all it is tars. So let's start with the kick drums going. 3, 4. Always good to keep count too. So 1, 2, 3. That's the first bar. 2 for the second bar. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. So each bar I'm counting as well. Here goes. 1, 2, 3 with the kick and ta ta. The snare's doing the work. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here comes the next line. It's a rest. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2. Third line. Rest. Rest. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. Here comes the next line. Rest. Rest. The sticks are resting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Next line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Next line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And so on and so forth. Now it seems pretty basic, but doing that over and over again is going to start programming these rhythms in your brain and program the muscles in your arms and your legs and your hands to start being able to play things automatically. And hey, it's a bit of fun too. And maybe with a bit of practice, in no time you'll be playing beats like this. That's it for this week's lesson. So have some fun making your own little home bucket drum kit and have a go at some of these exercises. I'll see you in the next clip. Take care out there. Enjoy your lesson as STEWY'S. That's right.